So this topic, how to play a big game when you're too much. For those of you who are new here, my name is Naima. I'm the founder of the Academy for Womanhood, where we help women grow up. And my specialty is working with women who were genuinely born different, and they have in many ways been too much for the normal world. So this topic is inspired by me being one of those women, and so much in my heart and soul here to be in service to that woman, while also naturally we will be in service to the collective of women worldwide when we come out of hiding. So I want to get into today's topic by sharing a story of my experience, and then questions are welcome as we go on here, and then also talking to you about a solution here. Like, what do you do about this? Because this is some of you are saying, the age of Aquarius, and really it's the age of truth, of transparency, radical honesty, all out, whatever that is for you. And in this instance, in this context, with my purpose, this live stream, my company, my mission is women who were genuinely born different. They are not different as a trauma response. They were genuinely born different. These were children who stood out amongst a group of 20 children, or they were very introverted children. They were ahead. Some of these women have been diagnosed as gifted. They saw the world different. They were different. They are different, genuinely. Again, not as a trauma response or because of a fear of something, but they were born this way. This woman has never been out of hiding genuinely. This is cutting edge. This is what I mean by pioneering. So for those of you who are this woman, it is time for you to bring your voice forward. So I want to give a shout out to the woman whose name will remain anonymous, but she completed the questionnaire to participate in my God Power workshop. If you already know you're this woman that I'm talking about, and you're ready to play a big game and come out of hiding, come to my God Power workshop. Read, pay attention. This is not for you if you're just merely encouraged and inspired and, oh my God, I just love how you talk and who you are, and oh, I just so wonderful and I'm just so encouraged. That is not enough. This is for those of you who are ready to come out of hiding and command millions of eyeballs being who you actually are. Here's the story. So for a long time, I ran like most of us do. We run from our power. We play small. We hide. And I want to add here, many of our patterns and behaviors, many women who were not necessarily born different exhibit too. This is why, and I'm talking in this nuance and fine detail so you can see, because a lot of women be like, oh my God, me too. Because there are parallels here. Parallels meaning the whole running and hiding from your power is very much a universal thing for all women. It's not distinct to the woman who I'm here for. So this is why I'm speaking in this detailed, nuanced way, because I want your brain to be locking in on the detail of what I'm sharing. So you don't have to go through the process of registering and then, oh, this is not for me actually. I was just excited because I like the way she talks. And I resonate with that part about hiding and playing small part, but this is not really for me. This is why I'm going into the fine details. So what's universal is women playing small, right? You play small with men, you play small with your mom, you play small with your friends because they like, who do you think you are? You feel like you too much. You scared to be a woman around your mother. You scared men won't like you if you play big. That is very universal for women. That's universal for women. So this part that I'm sharing about my story, running and hiding, playing small, etc., is universal. Now, here is where the divide starts to happen. What separates universal women, all women, from the woman who was born different? Women who are universal doing the running and hiding from their power, most of them will continue to do that and will tolerate the pain for the rest of their lives. Not all, but most. Look around. Yes, women are waking up, women are coming alive, and still we don't see the convergence just yet. If you would like for me to consider your comment or question here, you need to have a profile photo. If you don't care, keep yourself invisible like this. So again, the divide. The divide is all women deal with the whole running and hiding from their power. What's going to happen if they be authentic? What's going to happen if they be true? That's very much a universal women worldwide deal with. Where the divide starts to happen is the woman who was born different. I call this woman a coded woman, meaning the codes that she was born with, that she walks around with, is distinctly here on earth to move humanity forward. It's here to have very specific impact to a specific segment of the population, which will automatically trickle down to the collective. This is the difference. Also, what will start to happen in her world, which will not happen with all women, is she will literally eventually start to deteriorate if she doesn't do what she came here to do. What does deteriorate mean? She will start to die. She will start to get sick, literally. She'll get pain in her body. She'll start to break out all over her body. She'll start to go crazy. She'll have very specific degenerate experiences that all universal women don't deal with. Just think of all the women who stay in abusive marriages their whole lives, who stay, they know they're playing small. They know that they're depressed. They know that they don't like this. They pissed off about that, but they stay there. There's no sickness that happens in them that compels, that they know is calling them to do a specific thing. This is one of the things that separates all women from this woman who was born different. Here is another distinction. And here's where my story comes on the line. So one of the things that will happen for those of us who have specific codes, who have been in hiding, is that we'll be out, wherever that out is, at a restaurant, at a business event, with them, whatever. And when she doesn't hide behind her eyes, I repeat, you know how you alter yourself to be more like palatable? Okay. When she doesn't alter herself to connect with somebody and she's fully there, people get weirded out. Okay. I remember being at a restaurant, Cheesecake Factory, with my family. We were at a booth. There was like 6 of us. And the waiter came to take our order. And I had, I'll say like this, removed my filter. Okay, removed my filter. And I looked at him and he like, shh. And then he caught himself and pulled himself out of it. And I realized that, oh, my filter was off, and I put it back on. Okay, this is a very distinct experience that is not universal. Another thing that will happen is men will tell you that they are afraid of your power. This is another one. Or people just say that you scare them. Okay, I'm scared of you. And also there's a distinction in the scare. Because this is super fine. This is how, for those of you who have awareness and knowledge of like soulless beings, or how humans, different people are having different conversations and have different knowledge about how humans were made. Okay. And so how the soulless beings were made, and how the way, and I'm just bringing this forward because so much of this gets in the way in people's unconscious mind when it comes time for them to do things here on the 3D. So there's the soulless beings, and then there's the, what do they, in the consciousness community, they call them the I don't know if it's the Anunnaki, but basically the creators of the human race to be enslaved. And there's a copy of them, and humans are like a copy of sorts. And so there are lots of parallels that they look the same because they are copies. There's the original and there's the copy. So there are parallels. So somebody who doesn't have the knowledge will look at the two people and they look the same. This is why women will hear me talk and they'll be like, me too. Oh my God, exactly. Or they'll be so excited and inspired by this live stream and then they register for the workshop. And then I'm like, especially if they found me in the last month or 2 weeks, and I'll be like, I think you should go watch maybe 20 of my last videos. And then after they do that, they realize, oh no, actually, this isn't for me. Which is why I keep reiterating the detail and the nuance, because the inner world of this woman cannot be faked. You don't, that's what it is. It just cannot be faked. So the nuance between the scaring, you're scared of people, people are scared of you and scared of her. And I'm going to get to why this is so important, why now's the time, and the manipulation that's required. Okay, the very conscious manipulation. So there's the scared of like, you know how women put on a bitch face or to protect themselves out in the world, they want to look mean, you know, all that, right? Whether it's against men, whether it's because they hate their job or because they want to seem like somebody not to fuck with, and right, all these things that women have done to protect themselves, to defend themselves, to look like they got it together, to be left alone, to be all these things, right? And so when they do that, there's a standoffish or mystery about them. So then people are responding to that mystery, that standoffish, that bitch face, her acting mean or just putting, right, she's having a bad day. So people are like, ooh, I don't want to fuck with her. Like all of that's happening, right? With this woman who was born with these particular codes, she could be silent and smiling and looking at people and they still are afraid of her. She could be interacting with people every day, peacefully, cooperating, whatnot, and people still are afraid of her. She could be keeping to herself. People are still afraid of her. It's a very different energetic experience. It's a very different energetic experience. This is not something you go study under a master to become. This is not something you go read history books and books about spirituality and power and alchemy and confidence and healing and all that. And then, oh, I'm now that. I'm this woman. You don't study into it. You don't read about it. You are born as it. So when they say it's in you, it's not on you, for the ones who really have the knowledge, that is literal. It's not just a TikTok saying, because I want to feel like I'm better than you bitches. It's not that. For those of us who were truly born like this, we have asked for it to be taken away because of the responsibility. It's not cutesy and slay, bitch, and I'm better than you hoes, bitch, and I'm all of that going on. It's none of that. Okay? Now, why am I sharing this right now? And what does this have to do with the topic of how to play big when you're too much? And how does this link to the manipulation, conscious manipulation? Baby, we are in an age of evolution. I am a pioneer. For those of you who are this woman that I'm talking about, you are a pioneer. We are alive at a time now that we can come out, and when you own who you are, man, you can fuck around out here and do what you really supposed to do. Here's the thing. Most people are going to lie for the rest of their lives. They're going to play small. They're going to make decisions about getting a job, getting with him, living here from scarcity. Most people are going to do that for the rest of their lives. It's going to be fear-based. It's going to be scarcity, and they're going to work from the back. What do I mean by work from the back? They may show up and smile, do everything right, and appear a certain way, but unless you are in full truth, you have to work from the back. That's how power works. There's no like, kind of maybe, I'm going to try and see, I'm with it this, but I'm not really good. When you are this woman who I'm talking about, you are in the front-faced, as I say, you are front-faced all the time, versus most people are forever 2, 3, and 4-faced, and oftentimes unconsciously. This is why so many people can think, and I work with women, and I've been working with women for a long time. So I see this. I've seen this and I see this all the time, where they actually think that they're doing this thing for this reason, whatever, getting the job with the man, living how they live, and they'll tell you, I know who I am. Exactly. I know who I am. But they only know who they are within their certain environment. If they were to be put in another environment, everything that they are unaware of about themselves will come out. And that's another reason why people stay small, is because they're afraid of the unknown of themselves. So how does this matter? One, most people are going to hide, lie, and play small for the rest of their lives. So that automatically is going to keep people in a disempowered state. This is how fear can even run humanity, because most people will live afraid, will play small, will make scarcity-based decisions for all of their life. So you can see, when you do this work, particularly in my God Power workshop, and do it over time, when you truly become whole, and this is primal work, this is primal embodiment, a combination of your animal self and your high self, a combination of your low degenerate self and your holy almighty self, and integrating these two so you are whole. When you become this being, you see everything. You see the people that, hey girl, how you doing? And it's a whole wicked thing going on back there. When you come out true like this, the level of conscious manipulation that you will be required and can activate to do your specific work in the world, playing big. I want to reiterate, because most of y'all here are just here because you're intrigued by the what I'm talking about, and you like it, and I'm attractive, and you're alive because I'm a very activating being. That's why most of you are here. For those of you who I'm actually talking to as a pioneer, you are automatically considered against what? The status quo. What is normal? This is how we do it here. This is what a woman's supposed to be like. So because you're like this, people are automatically, especially all the people who know they're playing small, all the people who literally are not you, because remember, it's in you, not on you. So all of the oppositional energy, everything you're going to get from people, you need to be able to stand in that. You need to be able to create your content consistently. You need to be able to deal with people's unconscious mind being activated, coming out of the blue. You need to be able to hire your team. You need to be able to deal with your own personal life and your difficulties. You need to be able to look at your own womanhood. You need to be able to make difficult decisions. You need to be able to do all of this while being true, and it is difficult. It is very difficult. And what's going to make your life easier, and easier is subjective, what's going to make your life easier is being front-faced, clean, and true. This is what will allow you to have a power that most other people will not have, because you cannot have full-throttled, activating, force-wielding power when you live 2, 3, 4-faced. You have to do everything from the back. So this is why you talk about, when people talk about sneaky and, petty and sideways compliments or sideways, what they mean is people who work from the back. People who are not in their power. Only people who are not in their power have to work from the back. But which means they're partial. When you are true, whole, again, your lowly self and your highly self become unified, versus trying to act like I'm here to help people and I'm just only a good person. I'm a good person. Like, I'm smart. I'm a child of God, and I am chosen, and I'm part of the 144,000, and I know I have important work to do. But everything about you that's selfish and greedy and petty and insecure, you think you can hide behind that keeps you divided. I repeat, that keeps you divided. Your power is divided, your strength is divided, your sight is divided, your energy is divided. So when you come out here in the world and you want to wield, meaning wielding looks like creating content consistently that's fierce and powerful and compelling and makes people want to buy from you, be on your team, and register. You can't have that kind of power and presence in the world because you're divided. So all the people who remain divided, playing small, hiding, waiting to be saved, waiting for somebody else to do it, refusing to grow up, refusing to be in truth, you automatically remain more powerful than them. Which means that raises your vibration wildly, which means everything they do can't even touch you in a real way. This is why I say repeatedly, all you who are worried about the evil eye and the wicked eye, you telling your vibration level. Because when you start playing in pure truth, especially when you reconcile your heart and your fear of death, you vibrate on a whole other level. And the reason why pioneering women who are doing what many could call oppositional work need to reconcile their heart, like this is not an option, you have to reconcile your heart and your fear of death, is because when you come out here and you look at people without a filter, you look people in the eye, you can do it deliberately. You can look away deliberately versus looking away from a place of fear and am I too much and what are they thinking, and being so self-conscious that you can't be present in the conversation. You can decide when you want to make somebody feel uncomfortable and do it without doing it unconsciously and being like, "That I didn't mean to do that. That ain't got nothing to do with me." Well, I don't know. Which is what divided people do. They do things, but they throw things, but then they want to hide behind it. And that's the game that you have to play when you're divided, which means you can never have the impact that you actually want to make. It always has to be smaller, hiding type impact. And for those of us who are pioneering, yes or no, you are looking for collective impact. You are truly looking to play a big game. You are literally here to create the future. You are required to play at a whole other level, a whole other responsibility, a whole other fullness. So now, do you see why? One, what separates us? Do you see that now, right? What separates us? And two, what's required of you so you can come out here and not be, I'm too much. Am I scaring people? You got to tiptoe. Which means you're divided. Do you see? So what I have been required to do is reconcile my fear of death. This is one thing we're going to be, death doesn't always mean fear of somebody actually killing you. Fear of death could mean fear of abandonment, because to the animal mind, abandonment or being alone equals death to the animal mind. This is high level work. If you are, and I'm going to expound upon this, but for those of you who are here now, because I know people are coming in and going out, you need to come to the God Power Workshop if you're ready to play a big game and do this work I'm talking about. Let me finish this. You need to face your fear of death. Fear of death also looks like any abandonment issues you have. Fear of being alone, fear of being found out, fear of being ostracized and judged. All that to the animal mind. All of us are animals in our deep mind. No matter how good you look, how put together you are, we're all animals. To the animal mind, abandonment, being judged, rejected, and ostracized equals being alone and ending up dead under a bridge somewhere, because you're not connected to a flock, you're not connected to somebody, a community, a village, or whatnot. So to the animal mind, being judged, shamed, abandoned, rejected, any of those equals being alone, which equals dying, okay? That is one of the fears to reconcile. But there's also, for those of us, and this has been me, fear of actually being killed by somebody. Because when you walk around with codes, I repeat, this is what separates all women from the women who was born this way. When you were born with codes and a message and a knowledge, deep knowledge and intelligence that has its own language, that won't let you go, that compels you beyond your own will, because you've worked like hell to keep that thing down and look like you're normal and go get a job and get under a man. And you married the same man 2-3 times, and you had some more kids to distract yourself. And some of y'all have gotten overweight. You pushed the power down. No! Now you're in pain. You've gotten sick. Some of y'all done got cancer. All this and all of that to keep it down. It's funny, huh? Burgess, it's funny. It's funny. Right? You've already used your will to keep it down, and it won't let you go. When you have it like that, it's because your deep self knows that when this comes out, there will be lots of people who will be in disagreement. Now, that's to your animal mind. To your high mind, it's precisely what is required to change the world. And this is why the reconciliation and wholeness is so important. Because as long as you have the war between the part of you that absolutely knows, it is clear, it is calm, it is steady, and it's infinite. And that part of you is at war with the part of you that's like, I'm gonna end up broken alone. Oh my God, no, I can't. As long as that war is going on, you cannot strike fiercely. You cannot speak unapologetically. You cannot open up yourself to your own sword and the external swords. You cannot deal with being perceived, because I'm just so scared of being perceived. Worried about what your mama gonna think, what your kids gonna think, what they gonna think. As long as that war is going on, you might as well exit. This is a huge game, and it is specifically for you. If you are this woman who I'm talking about, for real, for real. Because remember I talked about the parallel? A lot of y'all think that this is you, but it's not you. When it's really you, you cannot not do it. So when Ms. Burgess said, because I did it, if you can do that for your entire life, you're not who I'm talking to. If you can stay there and keep doing that, you're not who I'm talking to. This is what I mean by originals and copies and the parallels. And why so many people think, because every time I come live like this, women are like, me too. Oh my God, I did all that. Yeah, me, same girl, me too. The distinction, and it's a fine distinction that's imperceptible to most. If you can do that and stay there, you're not who I'm talking to. The women who I'm talking to, some of them have killed themselves. This is not a joke. This is not just a TikTok girl talk. Black woman was talking about power and women's power. And this typical feminine power shit, this sanitized, shallow feminine power people talking about on the internet. No. Okay. So this live stream, and part of the intent here was to be clear about where the divide happens, because to most of us, the divide is imperceptible. Most people cannot see it. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to them. But for the woman who has this truly in her inner world since birth, like your mother told you when you were 4 years old, that who you are is not going to work here on earth because she saw you. Yeah, this is a very different experience. Okay? So, 1, when you reconcile your fear of death, game changer. Number 2, when you reconcile your heart, game changer. And your true reconciliation of your heart is doing the things that your ego mind doesn't want to do, but your high self does, and allowing yourself to get cut by the experience. Because for many of you, your true intent is diluted. For many of you, your true intent is diluted. Your conscious mind thinks you want to do this, that, and the third. But because you have been living in delay, not being seen, procrastinating, playing small, hiding, waiting to be saved, waiting for somebody else to do it, which means you haven't gone out to actually do the thing that your high self called you to do, you still think your intent is X, Y, and Z, when you're actually not going to find out your intent until you get out into the world based on what your high self told you to do. And the feedback that you're going to get is going to have you revisit what you originally thought your intent was, and it's going to refine your intent. You see, this is why you need to work with me. over time. This is why you need to work with me and my company over time. Yes, the God Power Workshop, but the God Power Workshop is just the beginning. This is over time. Let me finish this thought because I also want to bring up the part about you are creating the future. History. History is the future and the future is history. And then further elaborating on this conscious manipulation. 1, reconciling your fear of death, reconciling your heart, reconciling the ongoing between your high self and your low self. All of these are game changers, and it's what we start to work on inside of the God Power Workshop. If this is relevant to you, register at the link in my bio. We're starting day after tomorrow, but we're already beginning to come inside the Facebook group because that's where it's happening, inside of a Facebook group. The 9-day God Power Workshop is happening inside of a Facebook group. So that, now, this part about you're creating history and conscious manipulation. When you become whole, when you start reconciling the war between your high self and your low self, when you start to, and the primal part, I've been constantly talking about that, your primal self, refining her, reconciling your heart, reconciling your fear of death, what happens is your sight becomes incredibly clear. Now, I'm saying this all very easily, but this happens over time. This does not happen just inside the workshop. It doesn't even happen in just a year. This is the rest of your life. It's who you are. So you either going to become who you actually are or you're going to hang out where you are. So as you start to do this work and you really, and only you know if you're sincere, no matter how much you pretend and people believe you're pretending, you know when you are sincere, okay? When I say sincere, I mean at a heart level. When you are sincere at a heart level, to be who you really are, be pioneering and come out here and do your work. And you can do it, I'm telling you. I am proof that you can do it, okay? When you really do it, your sight, it's like literally you have high level sight. And it's not an ego game. Everybody want to be, you so high. Not really. But you start to see what other people cannot see. I'm telling you, and a lot of people feel like they can see. They're like, oh, I can see. I'm intuitive. I'm this and this and that and that. I'm telling you, when you know how the unconscious mind works, you know how humans are tricking themselves all the time. We are the trickster all the time. So when you start to see, what this enables you to do is go out into the world and deal with people without fear of people, without fear of scaring people, because you can see how people are responding to you immediately and you're not afraid to manipulate yourself in order to deal with this person. Because you are going to come into contact with somebody who is uncomfortable with you. You are going to come in contact with somebody whose nervous system gets triggered by your presence in the room. You are going to come into contact with a whole litany of people. The bartender making your drink, some man over here, some woman over there, your mother, your husband, all this and all that. Conscious manipulation is your ability to be able to notice how they're responding and adjust in a way to be able to connect with them because you want to. You're not faking, you're not doing the play small thing like so many women are doing. You're consciously manipulating yourself to help them to be able to adjust to dealing with you out of necessity, okay? So for example, let me see if I can even think of something recently that happened. Yes, okay, so I'm a big being. I'm a big energetic being, and I'm walking around all the time just like y'all. I went to a coffee shop this morning and got a latte, right? I'm out here living, right? So because I'm a big being and people feel me when I walk in, I don't even have to open my mouth. People can feel me and it's a thing. And all the time people are reacting to me. Now here's the thing. When you are in rejection of yourself, like so many of you are, you're refusing to own your power. You're refusing to step up to the plate and take responsibility for your fullness. That, what I call chaotic vibration, walks into the room with you. You're at the coffee shop, the restaurant, with this woman, with your mom, with this man. That rejection of self, that chaotic vibration, it walks in the room with you. So basically, you're creating your own chaos everywhere you go. It's just half of it is unconscious to you. Half of it you know, and then the half of it is very unconscious to you. So this is why there's all of these chaotic situations, but also a low-grade kind of war that's going on with you and other people all the time. But you just sort of do your best and you move around Okay? Versus when you are in full authority because you've made the commitment, whether you come this way or you go somewhere else, you've made the commitment to finally accept who you are and stop running. You finally made the commitment to stop running. Stop hiding, stop playing small, and at a heart level, you say yes. Not because I'm motivating you in this TikTok video, not because, oh my God, but because at a heart level, you decide to own who you've always been and no longer be in this war between your low self and your high self. No longer refuse to reconcile your opposites, your dark and your light. And you sincerely do this work. Coming to the workshop, continuing beyond the workshop. What happens is you're no longer in rejection of your experiences out in the world. So when you walk into a coffee shop, no longer repressing yourself, because that's how you live all the time, and you allow yourself to command yourself when you walk out in the world, and people are going to be responding to you because as a pioneer, you are oftentimes the first time that a person has seen commanding themselves unapologetically. So you walk in, you can feel and see somebody responding to you. No words have even been exchanged, but you can feel it. When you're in conscious ownership of yourself, you can activate whatever you need to activate to deal with them, versus when you're hiding and playing small, there's a part of you that won't even access your deeper self to deal with them because you're still in rejection of your deeper self. Okay? Now this, what I'm sharing right here, even applies to all of y'all. Okay? Not even just the woman who is born this way. And so you're going to walk into a space and you can see whoever the individual is having an energetic reaction to you before they say something. And when you see that, you can decide to smile. So this is conscious manipulation. You're smiling to soften them because you see, you feel that they're already having a reaction, a response that feels oppositional, you can see their discomfort. Okay? So you can smile. You can ask them, how are you today? Okay. You can, whatever you choose to do, but you're able to do it consciously versus having this reaction where you can feel them having a reaction to you and you automatically cower because I don't want to scare people, because it feels like too much, because I want to be welcome in this room, or whatever it is that you habitually do. Okay. So this is the part about two parts. One, how conscious manipulation works, but also, I cannot emphasize this enough. Ooh-wee. Can you accept that you are responsible for the future? For yourself and for the collective? Can you accept that you are literally creating history by people, you being the first person that these people have come in contact with? Like, this is the first time they're seeing a woman. This is the first time they're seeing a pioneering woman who's being a woman that the world doesn't even know what a woman looks like. Can you accept that the codes that's inside of you, they're inside of you for a reason, and that reason is for you to bring it forward, to bring forward something to humanity that has never existed or hasn't existed for millennia because it was repressed when they decided to control humans? When you shift how it exists in your mind, it shifts how you interact out here in the world. When inside of your mind, you see who you are is not important, it's not a big deal, I'm going to die anyway, then of course you're going to act a certain way out there. Well, I'm going to die anyway. So you're going to set your life up for somebody who's like, it doesn't matter, really, I'm going to die anyway. Versus when you sit down and get sober with yourself and look at what the pattern is in your life, okay? You've been exhausted because for all the reasons of already running, hiding, playing small. You're exhausted, right? And you're like, well, what does the future hold for me? Continue. Now, this is very rational. You don't have to do this because you already know. But if you need to do this for your ego mind, do it. If you already know who you are, and you know this is what you've been doing, what are you expecting the next 20 years to be like? I'm assuming you expect to be around for the next 20 years, or no? 20 plus years, or no? Do you plan to die this year or next year? Of course, we don't know, right? But are you planning to die soon? Like, that's a legitimate question. Do you plan to die soon? So if you plan to be here, what are you planning to create? Who are you planning to be next year? 2027? 2030? And what impact are you called to make? So this is why I'm elaborating. This is why, so much. All right, you all take good care of yourselves. God Power Workshop if it's for you.